Good day and welcome. I'm Mark Peacock, Chief Marketing and Communication Officer at LinkSpring. Thank you for joining us on today's webinar, The End of Life for Niagara AX. A few housekeeping points. We'll be recording the webinar and we'll make it available on our resources site and our YouTube channel as soon as it's ready. We'll send out a notification when it's available. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the chat function and we'll try to get to each and every one of those questions. So let's get started. Launched in 2005, Niagara AX has served the market well. With over 600,000 instances deployed globally, it's time for this version of the highly successful Niagara framework to ride off into the sunset and join its predecessor, Niagara R2, as being end of life. For some time now, we have been advising that Niagara AX was end of life and its end of life phase that would take place on July 1. And that day would be the day in which sales of AX licenses and license options end. Sales and replacements for legacy Jennies and Jaces end, and fixes for defects and cyber issues end. While AX will continue to operate and function as it has been designed to do, we wanted to review one last time what's expected so that you know. So joining me, I'm delighted to welcome Tritium's product manager, Laura Kevitt, and Troy Finley, our business development sales manager. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Laura to get into some further details. Laura?
Thank you, Mark. I'm going to keep this presentation fairly short, so there's plenty of time for Q&A at the end. Basically, re-summarizing what Mark said, for our hardware starting July 1st, 2021, that includes all legacy Jaces on the 2, 3E, 4, 5, 6, 6E, and 7 platforms. We will not be accepting any additional orders for replacement parts. We will be not accepting any more orders for upgrades or SMA on those Jaces. And we are not accepting orders for AX software options on those platforms either. So basically, those devices are left where they are on July 1st, 2021. And the same holds true for our legacy IO 16 and 34 modules. Those were the modules that connected directly to those Jaces on the RS-485 ports. Those are no longer available either. Moving on to the supervisors, we are providing some additional options for you on supervisors. Starting July 1st, you will not be able to place orders for the AX software options that are available on AX supervisors. However, we will allow SMA to be added to your AX supervisors up until July 1st, 2023. And when you have an active SMA on your supervisor, you can migrate the model of the supervisor from the AX licensing scheme to the N4 licensing scheme, and we'll be providing equivalent licenses on N4 for those models. And that way, moving down the road, you can add the new N4 license options to those. And as we add to our N4 platform and improve on that, you'll have those improvements available to you. There is a bulletin that we sent out last month regarding how the AX migrator works, and there's actually a demo embedded in that bulletin that you can have access to as well. So if you have Niagara AX supervisors, we encourage you to provide to get the maintenance put on those and migrate them to the Niagara 4 license scheme. One thing I've had a lot of questions on are the soft Jaces, and those are a little bit different because they don't have a direct correlation, but we can't really correlate the licenses on a soft Jace directly to a Niagara 4 license. So we're not offering a migration for those. However, we will allow you to continue to purchase maintenance on them and run them in the new Niagara 4 framework, but new options and features will not be available on the soft chases. So if you had a soft chase with backnet points on it, those backnet points will continue to be on your soft chase, and you can upgrade it to Niagara 4. However, new Niagara 4 features will not necessarily be added to those soft chases. And that is the end of my presentation. So I'll open it up for Q&A.
Thanks, Laura. And again, we purposely wanted to keep this short today just for this to act as a reminder of what to expect come July 1. And I would encourage, if you want some discussions with LinkSpring, to get a hold of your business development manager and or our technical support to have those discussions. A couple questions that we've gotten already pre this conference, this webinar was, while AX ends for Jennies and Jaces, how about LinkSpring's Genesis Edge devices and portfolio? Unfortunately, those end as well, in as much as we try to negotiate with our colleagues at Tritium to keep those ongoing for a while. We were not too successful. So like the Jennies and the Jaces, same things do apply there. So another question that we got is, can I get a list of customers, my customers, who still may have AX installed? The answer is yes, we do have some lists by customers. I want to say that it is not 100% complete, but it's pretty much is. And if you would like a list for your particular company, then reach out to either myself or your salesperson, and we will see that you can get the list that we do have, and we would share with you. Those are the two pre-questions that we've gotten. Troy, I believe we've got some more questions.
Yeah, there's one that's come in about whether or not there are any incentives for upgrading hardware or software. And there were incentives. They expired on December 30th, 2020. So that door has closed, and at this point, it's open season without incentives. So that's one question that I see here.
And another question that I've gotten, if I was moving from AX to N4, what version should I start at? So the latest version of 4 that Tritium still supports, it's 4.10 is out, 4.11 is coming out. But again, I think in certain instances, Tritium still supports 4.9 and 4.8. Am I correct, Laura?
We're supporting 4.9 right now. We
Okay.
typically support the current version plus one back.
Okay.
4.10 will be a long-term supported version. So we'll be supporting that for the next couple of years, along with 2 other versions going forward. For AX customers, you'll need to get your stations migrated to 3.8 first before you migrate them to N4 if you're migrating a station. Direct migration from earlier versions of AX can be problematic.
Okay. Laura, can you see some of the other questions that are coming in here? There's a couple others that I think we have time to address.
Okay, let me see here.
Just click on the Q&A down there.
Here's one that says, hypothetically, if I have a spare J6 in August and want to install it in place of a J that fails, can the license be transferred? We are not transferring or doing anything with legacy Jace licenses. So anything you have currently licensed, you can use, but we're not going to maintain anything with the Jace legacy Jace licenses. When upgrading our licenses and drivers transferable. So if you're using that migration tool that we have for the supervisors, the Tritium licenses will be automatically transferred. So if you had 500 BACnet points on your AX license, we'll transfer that to 500 points of global capacity on your N4 license, which would also have the BACnet capabilities. Third-party licenses will not be transferred using our migrator. Tritium really has no way of transferring those licenses. So you'd have to go back to your supplier if you have third-party licenses on your products.
Okay. As I said, this is going to be short and sweet. And as of now, we're not seeing any more questions. Again,
Here's one more in on the supervisor.
thank you. Will the supervisor migration tool work for AX access control subs?
Yes, we'll be transferring that as well to equivalent Niagara 4 licenses. And then somebody else asked about Workbench. We will still have that slider switch on your Workbench license, so you'll be able to service your AX customers going forward. And here.
Go ahead, Laura.
What if you don't upgrade by the date provided? If you don't upgrade by the date provided, then you will be stuck where you're at and your license will not be replaceable.
Well, I thought you could buy maintenance. No, Laura, in the future, you could buy maintenance between now and 2000.
On your supervisors, we are going to allow maintenance to be purchased on the AX models until July 1st of 2023. On the legacy JASOs, if they haven't been upgraded, they're cut off July 1st. We're not.
In terms of support and
licensing upgrades as well. We're not
they're still
providing
young,
license.
but they just we won't upgrade them or support them. Yeah.
Right. They'll just continue to run as they are at that point in time.
Okay. Any last minute questions? I'm not seeing any. I'm sorry. Is this a new one that just came in? No, I'm sorry. And so thank you for joining us today. We greatly appreciate it. And again, please reach out to LinkSpring at various email addresses shown here, either marketing, support, or orders, and we'll be
Couple
happy
more,
to-
Mark. We got. Let's just continue. Says, are you going to send out the presentation? Not to cut you off.
Yes, yeah, the presentation will be available as well as I said earlier on, the posting of this webinar. In fact, we'll have the slide deck posted this afternoon. So just go to our resources site and you can have access to it. If you want your own copies too, just reach out to me, mark.peacock@linkspring.com, and I can get one over to you as quickly as possible as well. But again, want to thank Laura, Troy, and a special thank you and shout out to Danielle Burns at Tritium for helping us put this together. And like always, at LinkSpring, we appreciate the support in the business from our customers, and we look forward to many more webinars in the future and wish you all a good day. Thank you.
Thank you all.